Yo, you guys, I think this sneaker might be sneaker of the year. It's only February. Yo, what is good, you guys? This is Marl from the Project Lamb Life, and today we have a look on the recently released Air Jordan 4 Bred Reimagined. What is good, everybody? Thank you for tuning in back to the channel. Yes, we finally get a new sneaker to review. And for me, this is a first since technically this is the first Air Jordan 4 that I ever copped. So I will be taking you into my first deep dive into this sneaker, see if the sneaker is really all of that, and if I will decide to keep it. So stay tuned for that. So heavily being one of the most anticipated shoes of the year, we finally get the Air Jordan 4 Reimagined Breds. And it couldn't have come any sooner since the last time Jordan Brand released this particular colorway of the Air Jordan 4, it was way back in 2019. And way back then, I was not on the radar for Air Jordan 4s. I think I was into, I don't know, Yeezys back then. So this was basically under my radar. Now, one revelation that I actually found to be absolutely amazing was that one of the reasons why I never particularly liked the Air Jordan 4 is because of the material that they used. So majority of all Air Jordan 4s are particularly made out of nubuck. Now, based on my research, Nike calls it Durabuck, which is, I think, a tier lower than the normal nubuck. And I always did not like that sort of material since first and foremost, it gets dirty easily. And once it gets dirty, it's gonna be a hassle trying to clean it off. Now, I kid you not, I think it was about 2 years ago, maybe, the first time that they re-released the Fire Red Air Jordan 4s. Now, that model was also made out of leather, that white leather material. And I thought to myself, I really like the Bred colorway for the Air Jordan 4. However, why did they have to make it into nubuck? Maybe somehow, sometime in the future, Nike and Air Jordan brand can make that into leather. And what do you know, 2 years later, they actually did it. They have changed the entire upper of the sneaker from the usual Durabuck or nubuck material and replaced it with leather. So this is one of the reasons why I actually decided to get this sneaker. But I'm telling you, this was not the easiest cop for me. And I assume to almost every single one of you watching this video. So without further ado, let's just get right down to the review. I am pretty excited since this is the first Air Jordan 4 that I will be reviewing. Technically, it is not. I actually got a pair of infrared 4s way back then. I think it was about a year ago. However, again, since I told you guys that I wasn't a big fan of the nubuck material, I had to, well, resell it again. So let's just get right down to it. And so starting off with the most important aspect that I really liked about this shoe, the upper. As you can see, the entire upper is made up of this nice tumbled black leather. And as you can see, it does have a nice shine to it. And I know that for some people, they don't actually like that since the OG Breds, the nubuck version, had little to no shine. And for that reason, the shoe actually looks blacker. But for me personally, I kind of like that small shine that it gives off, especially at night when you walk and that flash hits it. I think it just adds a little bit more depth to the shoe. Now moving up, I do see this netting material. I'm not particularly sure what it is. It kind of feels like plastic, but underneath that, I do see some mesh material. So that kind of rides up all along the tongue. Right above that tongue, we do have some black flat shoelaces that goes along these eyelets. And what I noticed is that for Air Jordan 4 models, there's actually this extra lace loop that's in gray for this particular model. There's actually two of them, one at the very beginning of where you put in your shoelaces and at the very end of where you finish it off. Moving right up that tongue though, we do actually see a change in material from that netting and mesh to a nice leather. And right over at the middle of it, we do see this patch of the Jumpman logo in red and the flight text in white. Now let's move over to the side of the shoe. There's actually this cage, as you can see, it is in black, so it may be a little bit hard to see. But as you can see, it does connect that extra gray lace loop right over here. Right beside that, we do see more of that black netting and that mesh underneath that. Now moving over to the back of the shoe, I think this is where most of the OGs come into play. They actually prefer this Nike Air branding right over here stamped at the back of the shoe. And normally it would either be the Jumpman logo right now, but for the OGs out there, they actually prefer this just because it does resemble to the logo that was placed here way back in 1989. Now right above that, we do have this little pull tab, which I believe is to help you put in your shoe. Now moving down into the sneaker, we do actually see a couple of color combinations. We do have some grays, some whites, and some blacks. Now for the black part, I do believe this is some sort of foam that is used for the cushioning. Now for the grays, it does protrude out to the outsole, so it is that rubber material. And in the white part, you can actually see the exposed air unit right under there, which gives us the impression that this does have Nike Air into it. Now moving into the inside of the sneaker, we do actually have a nice, very well padded gray sock liner. And when I tried this on feet, it does hug my feet pretty well. It does not get warm that much. I would actually prefer some sort of mesh material, but I think they stuck true to the OG, so I think this is what they used way back then. There's no complaints there. And moving our eyes over to the inside of the tongue, there's actually a color change. As you can see, it is in red. It isn't the same material as the sock liner. And right at the middle of that, we do have the Air Jordan patch there that is reverted. Now, I honestly do not know why they actually did that, but ever since I known about Air Jordan 4 models, this was the case back then. They always reverted that Air Jordan patch, so I'm not exactly sure why they did that, but it's there. Now moving into the insole, it is in red. However, the material used for the majority of it, I would say it sort of resembles to some sort of mold material, and you do have that Nike Air branding stamped on in black. And finally, moving into the outsole, we do see some color combinations once again. We do have some grays, some whites, and some reds. And as you can see, that the most iconic one of them all is this Nike branding right here at the center of the midfoot in red. Now one thing before I forget, this particular Bred model does come with a Nike hang tag right over here, as you can see. It is in black. Now from what I can see, it appears that only one-sided is printed in black, because if you flip it over, it does appear to be a little bit more translucent. So there's that. I won't be wearing this sneaker with this, so once I put this on feet, I will be taking them out. But that is a little nice detail that you get when you buy this sneaker. And that pretty much covers up the Air Jordan 4 Bred Reimagined from the eyes of, well, a newbie to this particular sneaker. Now, when it comes to sizing, I was particularly happy because I got this in a size 13, my true to size, and it fit me pretty well. Although one thing I did not like, I don't know if all pairs come in looking like this, but I will put up a b-roll of it. It kind of looks like when they factory lace this shoe, they lace it so tight that you really need to undo the entire lace system just so that you could get your feet in and for your feet to feel comfortable in them. So I don't know why Jordan Brand does that, or if they normally do that, or maybe it just came in that way for me in particular, but that's one thing I sort of noticed about this shoe in particular. But apart from that, this shoe feels sort of comfortable. I do see it sort of better than the Air Jordan 1 in terms of comfortability. But then again, this shoe has been around for, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 years now. And I think that there are definitely better models out there when it comes to comfort. Now, one thing that I did find out about this shoe in particular based on some research is that they actually changed the look and fit of the entire sneaker. I don't know if it looks that way in camera. I absolutely do not know, but they say that it is supposed to look like that pair way back in 1989. And so with that, you are sort of getting a piece of history with this, apart from it being in leather. So that is a big game changer, and I think that is why they named it as the Reimagined Bred 4s. And from right now, I think only one other pair kind of resembles this silhouette, and that is with the SB Jordan 4 Pine Greens. And so yeah, that's about it. It's time to put these on feet and see how they look. We are back, and that about concludes it. Thank you guys for watching. If this is the first video that you are watching from the channel, please do subscribe. I highly do appreciate it, and give this video a thumbs up as well. But once again, this has been Marl from the Project Lamb Life, reminding you guys to always keep safe out there, and God bless.